Does the channel provide value?
Focus on the foundation.
I am a travel vlogger.
It's always about communication.
Build those partnerships.
What are the problems that you solve for your clients?
Just being ahead on the technological side of things.
Leading an organization.
You not only want to survive, but you want to thrive. They said it wouldn't last, and they said that you can't drive profitable and incremental revenue through the affiliate channel. But here we are, 20 years later, and the affiliate channel is alive and kicking and generating profitable revenue for thousands of retailers across the globe. Hi, I am Jamie Birch, your host of the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast, where we talk to some of the industry's best and brightest about their careers, about leadership, and about how to drive profitable revenue through the affiliate channel. Hello and welcome to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Jamie Birch, and founder and CEO of JEBCommerce, your award-winning affiliate management agency. Today we have a great guest, and I will get to that and introduce him to you in a moment. But as we're recording this today, we are squarely in back to school. No matter how much I want to protest and throw a fit and not acknowledge that my kids will be going back to school here shortly and entering another of one of the last few, actually, for me, of school, back to school seasons. But you're probably listening to this closer to Q4. And as we get ready to target that, you may be thinking about ways that you can increase your sales, but also strategies to lower your customer acquisition costs within your affiliate channel. Now, if you are trying to balance those two things and lower that customer acquisition cost, we've got a resource for you. So just go to jebcommerce.com/CAC. That's jebcommerce.com/CAC. And you'll be taken to a resource where we've identified 4 ways that you can for strategies to lower your customer acquisition costs in your affiliate program. Now, let's get to our guest today. Our guest today is Andy Hohl. Andy is the brand sales and partnership at Magic Links. Now, Magic Links is a influencer platform working primarily with YouTube and TikTok influencers and merging that space of influencers and affiliate marketing. So they are using affiliate marketing to monetize, incentivize, and reward influencers for the content they create on behalf of brands. So Andy's been in the PR space and the affiliate space for a little over 10 years now. So he's done both. And as we have been talking about a lot at JEB, and you've noticed that in our content we create on our blog, on our podcast, and in the work that we're doing for our clients, the merging of public relations and affiliate is happening. It is here. And this is one of those conversations that we bring to you, some of the things and partners that we work with to help take advantage of this brave new world that is merging these two disciplines and these two channels. So this is another one. Andy is a great guest. And if you want to learn all about working with Magic Links and how they work with influencers, then this is the podcast episode for you. So I'm going to step out of the way so you can listen to my conversation with Andy Hohl. Awesome. Andy Hohl, welcome to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. Thank you for spending time today with me. How are you?
I'm great. Coming off a great weekend. It's sad we're in the dog days of summer, but luckily I live in Miami, so it's summer year round. The nice part of the weather comes now.
Yeah, my first time in Miami, I experienced true humidity like I've never seen it before. And it was about this time of year, August, I stepped out of my cab and my glasses fogged up for about an hour.
Yeah, and my go-to going out outfit is usually just a bathing suit shorts or regular shorts. Like I try and be like, oh, I'm going to wear jeans out. No, bad idea. Or any long sleeve shirt. You're going to be sweating through that before the day's over. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've never been there outside of August, so I would assume the rest of the months it's a great place to be. And yeah, the dog days of summer, I'm not looking forward to the winter. I saw Halloween decorations at the mall yesterday. I was like, this is too early. I don't want to see this. And I almost ordered my first pumpkin spice donut from Krispy Kreme the other day. And my wife was like, it's too early. Out?
Wow.
They do. Yeah. It's 100 degrees.
July was at Target and I saw like the back to school supplies and it was just like, that was what I was dreaded growing up. Cause like I lived in Ohio. So, we had only like 3 good months out of the year. And when you saw school supplies, you're like, oh, it's over already.
Yeah, not looking forward to it. This is the first year my kids will go to public school. They've been homeschooled or private school. So everything starts a little earlier. And it seems like these holidays never end, or these times a year, right? I saw back to school stuff, in July, and it was just, I don't want to think about this yet. Don't make me think about this yet.
Well, I don't like that. It gives me the shivers of like, being back in school, which after, going to college and then or high school and all of that. I went to one post-grad class at UCLA for, wrangling talent. It was a very niche class for one day. So I've one official post-grad credit at UCLA, which I still use on my resume. I don't know how much that means, but I have done post-grad work, I like to say.
Awesome. I have not had a chance to do that yet. My sister is wrapping up her doctorate right now. And that's been pretty interesting.
I can't even imagine.
It's quite the journey. It'll be the first doctorate in our family, and real proud of her. But I can't imagine. I was done with school, and then I was done. I wanted to never go back, and I'm glad.
I'm glad I was able to get out of college in 4 years. It was a close one, but I figured it out and got it done.
Yeah, I was a late starter. I worked for a little bit, and then I went to school, and then it was like I went straight through summers and everything. I got there, and I wanted to get out. So
you made up for lost time?
I did. I mean, I was still the old guy in all the classes. I think one of my last classes was a freshman English class. And I was, 5 years older than everyone else. And they thought I was the teacher. And yeah, that was the worst class.
How we think that, like, when I was like 18, thinking somebody that was 23 is old. And now, like, if I go out to the bar and meet somebody who's 23, I'm like, you're so young. You've got your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, I turned 48 this year. And I remember thinking when I was maybe 10 that you were really close to death at that point. So
maybe like if you were on the Oregon Trail, you might be close to
right?
death.
Yeah. I think I'd be 10 years over the life expectancy at that point. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Tell us and our listeners about your career journey. How did you find affiliate marketing, and what was the path to get there?
It was a long journey. So I went to Ohio University. So I was a public relations major. I didn't really have many options for internships. So one of my internships, actually my only one during college, was at Hocking College, which was kind of technical college a couple miles outside of Athens, where I went to school. And for that, I really got my hands dirty. I was doing marketing and PR, got to learn so many things because they basically had a one-person department. So like I remember taking a picture of a baby foal, I think that's a baby horse, and like making the front page of the newspaper in that town. And that's just like how things went and everything. So like, I got a front page article. But yeah, it was a really good experience I had. And after that, I worked all summer at an island in Ohio called Put-in-Bay, saved up 10 grand. Saw an ads off Craigslist to work in PR because I wanted to be a celebrity publicist. That was my end goal. I saw so many like things on TV, documentaries. I'm like, I want to be a person checking people in at the door or walking celebrities down the red carpet. And I applied for an unpaid internship, which I don't think is legal anymore in the state of California. You have to get it for credit or they have to pay you. So this was 2011. So it was a completely different time. So yeah, I did that for a company called Tyler Burnett PR. Did 3 months unpaid, then 3 months paid, and then 3 months as an assistant. And he was doing lifestyle and branded consumer PR. So I did check in at some events and then just, calling magazines to, pitch them. I'm like, hi, do you have a quick second for a pitch? Like all these New York reporters, and they're like, yes. And then I would like freeze up on the phone, like just because I was so green and trying to like spit out
phone pitches.
Yeah, that's like, because now it's all email pitches, at least in for what I'm doing now in sales. But yeah, back then, phone pitches is how you did it. It taught me a lot. And then I started a company called Artisan Brand Management, where I did celebrity endorsements. So basically celebrity sales, if you will. So I got to work with Lindsay Lohan, Nicki Minaj, like all these big celebrities over 6 years there, which was really exciting. That's when affiliate was just starting to creep in, at least in my world. They'd be like, hey, would you want to do this? But it's only for a percentage of sales. And we were always like, no, we need to see the money up front. And especially with celebrities, just because bigger brands, they'll pay for, bigger upfront fees. I remember some like people getting $100,000 for one social media post, which is just like crazy. And they're seeing no ROI. It's just like basically brand awareness is what they're paying for. which is pretty crazy. Yeah. So after 6 years there, I dabbled in a company that did micro influencer management. So I was managing influencers with like 10 to 100,000 followers, and we were dabbling in affiliate again. And then I worked for a Canadian-based company doing YouTube, managing influencers there. Just lasted a little bit, wasn't a great fit. And then my stop right before I started Magic Links was back doing influencer endorsements at a company called NTA, which is a full service talent agency in LA. Once the pandemic hit, times were tough and they like made me part-time. And I'm like, okay, this is not sustainable to live in LA. I was already cutting it pretty close with my regular salary plus commission. So I took a chance on Magic Links. I didn't really know. I thought I'd be like, okay, I've got all these contacts at brands that usually pay upfront fees. So I'm like, okay, they'd be great for affiliate. But a lot of people didn't understand the model at first, or just weren't like, just didn't understand it or weren't familiar with it. So I got like a lot of pushback, or, just people. I think I sent out 400 emails when I started at Magic Links, and like nobody responded. So that was kind of eye-opening. But I was like the first one hired on our sales team. And now I think we've got a sales team of about 12 or 13. So it was good to be with a startup in like the infancy, and especially during a weird time like COVID, but everybody was online shopping. So we had that advantage. But it was like in June of 2020. So like we thought we were getting out of it, but like, okay, we're still in it now. So we didn't know what the heck we were talking about.
That's so funny now, right? Like we thought we were, getting out of it 2 years later.
I remember just like a month staying at home, like while I was working maybe like 3 hours a day because I was part-time. And I was just like going crazy because LA took it really strict. Like even if you're walking outside, you need to wear a mask and don't stay out for that long. Like it was just crazy. And then going to the grocery store was like my one big highlight of the week. And it was just crazy. But yeah, so I started with my boss, Ed, who's great. So it was really good that I was going to the office when like technically I think you weren't supposed to be going into the office, but we wore masks and we were just like, I work better when I'm in the office. I don't like, as I work remotely now, I do prefer going into the office just because I feel like there's camaraderie. You can ask, you don't have to Slack your boss questions. You can just ask him quickly, hey, like, what's your opinion on this? Like, how would you approach this? As like, unique situations come up, especially when I'm in my infancy of, doing affiliate sales pretty much. So it was very helpful. And as he really taught me the ropes, it was just eye-opening to kind of see how this works and how like they can find really good influencers, to produce affiliate sales that aren't celebrities, that are kind of, niche. We've got people that with 30,000 subscribers on YouTube that like outperform people with a couple million followers. So it's really a unique process to see kind of like, it's all about engagement and like authenticity. And like, if your fans are really like dedicated to you, or they just following you to like hate follow you, or just following you just to like,
I definitely want to ask about the hate follow.
Yeah. Cause some people do like just hate follow. Like, oh, this girl, like, I mean, like she's got cool stuff, but I wouldn't like buy anything she buys or something like that. Cause there definitely are people, we do live in like a cynical time where people are like, especially like Gen Zers, and probably Gen Xers too, or millennials too. I'm a millennial, I believe. I'm 33, so I think that's right. People definitely do like hate follow or just not like appreciate the content they're seeing. Other times there's people that are like really invested in it. So it's just interesting to see the whole spectrum of it.
Yeah. And so before we dive into affiliate marketing and everything, one of the things we talked about, you alluded to it here, was what it was like looking for work in a pandemic. And now we're entering this phase where we see layoff notices every week, daily on LinkedIn. And there's still a lot of weirdness. It's unlike June 2020. We're not sure when we're going to get out of this now. I think we're more realistic there's a lot of uncertainty coming. So I thought it was appropriate, especially for those listening who are job searching. What was it like navigating during the pandemic, a job search?
I applied a lot. It was just kind of a numbers game when it came down to it. But like, it was definitely because I've been in jobs before where I didn't like, or it just wasn't a fit, right, with two Canadian-based companies that I just was like, okay, like this checks like the money box and it checks like general what I want to do. But then I'm just like, I don't want to get in a situation like that again where I'm just like, I'm not happy at this job. So I was very hesitant about doing anything like straight sales, which, is I'm brand partnership / sales is in the title. So is cold outreach, no cold calling anymore, unless we're really trying to, get a big, we like to call them whale on the hook or a fish on the hook. So yeah, it was definitely tough. But I was, always trying to like update my resume. Like I was featured in Women's Wear Daily a couple times before. So I definitely, attached that to my email, like in the bottom, like here's some articles I've been featured in. So just anything to, reinvent the wheel, make me look maybe like somebody that they would really want to give an interview to, because a lot of times I didn't even get to the first base. So it was just frustrating where the only email I would get is your application has been received. And that was it. So it was definitely frustrating, and it took probably, I'd say 3-month process. And that was for Magic Links too. I think I started interviewing with them in March, and then I didn't get the job, and I didn't start till June 15th. And I don't think I got the offer until the end of May. So it was like,
wow,
well time. But I met with pretty much the whole team. There was only 10 people, but I met with everybody. And it's something cool about their companies. Like they've said like, hey, we don't hire people unless they're F yes. So I was an F yes to, and which is really cool for them to say, just because I think, especially during those hard times, like you want to really invest in somebody that's going to be with your company for a while and like is going to be like good to work with. So, I mean, I feel like I do check those boxes, and I'm pretty friendly to get along with and everything, but on paper, you can't see that. So it was just, somebody taking a chance being like, okay, like let's give this guy a call. But yeah, it was definitely, if people are getting laid off now, it is a numbers game, and just using anything, even if you think it sounds like pretentious or anything, like I thought, using my Women's Wear Daily articles was like, okay, like this is like he's gloating, but like, I mean, in this, like in that tough job climate, it was just like I was putting everything against the wall to see what would, penetrate through all of the resumes.
Yeah, it's interesting when I talk to prospect, candidates, that seems to be a common thread of I don't want to seem like I'm boasting or gloating, but from the employer's perspective, I need to know why you're different. Like this is the time to do it, and you are okay to do it. Like, tell me why you're different. My dad calls them blue chip stories. So I always train my staff too. Remember those blue chip stories. So when you go to get your next position, you take your next step, whether that's inside JEB or outside, you have these stories that you can share that are readily available, that you may have written down that you can share, or examples like you stated that you can just send along that make you stand out. And I think that's huge important. Do you have any other advice for those looking right now? Like, it's a numbers game, and then adding some of those things that different. Anything else that you found worked for you?
I would say, Indeed, I thought was the best job tool I could find. I tried like entertainmentcareers.net. I never got any responses for that. Like the only real job website I used was, Indeed, or, I'd look at a company and be like, okay, this is a company I want to work for. I would look on their website, and a lot of times I would just send a resume, even if they weren't hiring, just because I'm like, hey, I want to like put, good juju out into the universe. Like, hey, at least they see that I'm interested and I know about their company. So I did that with a couple different companies. I didn't hear back from them, but it didn't hurt at the same time just to, go after companies that you want to work for.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And what about employers? What do you think from your perspective? And one of the reasons I love this podcast is I get to ask questions that I want to know, and hopefully others can learn from my curiosity. But from a candidate's perspective, what would you want employers to know that are looking to fill positions?
I would say you really want to make sure somebody's hungry, because I feel like I don't want to generalize all people like coming out of the workforce or coming out of college or anything, but it feels like it's a different time from when I graduated 10 years ago. People were really hungry. Like I would work over what I was supposed to. I remember my boss being like, if I picked up the phone on the second ring, this one, everyone had like office phones, which nobody's in the office anymore, but she'd be like, what's going on there if I didn't pick up on the first ring? So it was just like, that's how I was trained. I'm not saying that's right, but I just feel like that kind of hunger is kind of missing nowadays with like some of the people I see, that applicants that we get. So I would just say just like a drive to, want to be successful in your position goes a long way, and, just be hungry for making it work, and, being an asset to the team. Just because I feel like some people are just like, okay, I'm going to apply, see how this job goes, and then like move on. I know like a lot of people in PR, I feel like they only stay at a company for 1 year, then they move on, then they move on, then they move on. Like for my company, like I was hesitant at first with sales, but like we've got such a great, office culture. We've got a beautiful office in Venice, and just like everybody feels like family, and it's not micromanaged. And it's just like, that's a big thing too. Like once you're being micromanaged, like you can be like offended off of quick things. And I feel like with our office now, it's just kind of like, hey, if you make a mistake, like let's just learn how to do it better next time. Like it's not as micromanagey as I've had at other positions before, other jobs.
Yeah, great. Well, let's talk about Magic Links and talk to me. What is Magic Links and what's your role at Magic Links?
Yes. So we are a social commerce platform. We've got 25,000 influencers on our platform. Primarily, it's YouTube, but we are branching off into people whose main platform is TikTok or Instagram. YouTube still sees the greatest conversion rate as far as sales go, which is, very important for brands and affiliate companies. So, and we work with about 4,500 brands are live on our platform. So we work with brands in kind of 3 different ways. The first way is just, you can be onboarded to our platform. So for instance, Crocs is one of our brand partners. So if I was an influencer, I could be like, hey, I just got this pair of Crocs. Crocs isn't paying me. I actually paid for these Crocs myself, but I'm going to link it in my bio. And then you can click, and we'll say their cookie window is 30 days. So they can get credit for those sales. If it's 10%, whatever sales for 10% for 30-day cookie window, they're going to be accredited, and then we'll pay out at the end of the month to them from the Crocs account. We also do gifting campaigns, which is when a brand has a test budget. And for this, we're guaranteeing X amount of influencers to post for a fee. And then we have a casted campaign that we offer, which is kind of our primary focus, where we're really kind of acting as the influencer marketing agency of record for the brand for that particular campaign. And for this, we're doing anywhere from, 5 to 20 casted influencers over the course of a month. And they've got full creative control and then full casted control as well. So those are kind of the 3 ways we work with brands right now. And, our company is just growing year by year. During COVID, the first 3 months was kind of weird. And then I started and we saw like people were still shopping online and people still shopping online too. We've seen year after year, like 2021 to 2022. So it's been definitely interesting for me, starting off where I did with celebrity sales, kind of migrating now to, affiliate, and then working mostly with YouTubers, which I didn't when I was with artists and brand doing celebrity stuff.
Awesome. And so what's your role at Magic Links? What do you do in terms of these?
Brand partnerships. So I work with both affiliate companies, marketing agencies, and brand directly to, talk to them about different options. If we see a brand spiking in sales organically, I would talk to them about a possible gifted or casted campaign. And then brands, marketing agencies, and affiliate companies come to me when they're looking for, a proposal for a brand to do a casted campaign. So I, manage those relationships. And then once we close a casted campaign, then I would hand it off to my influencer team who would execute the campaign. And then I come back at the end to tell you how the campaign did, what was the return on investment, clicks, sales, and all that good stuff that we, encapsulate into a wrap deck. So basically, I'm the liaison between the brand and then our influencers.
Gotcha. Okay. And I was looking at your site this morning and I love what it says is sales are the new likes, the new comments. And you've kind of seen this throughout your career as affiliate, kind of even all the way back to like 2012. Talk to me about that transition of that KPI of how things are being measured now. What have you noticed? How has that changed?
I think budgets were definitely looser back in the day. And since of the pandemic of when I've started an affiliate, it's definitely more, return on investment driven, where they want to see a result. They just don't want to, maybe they're okay with giving away a product, but they don't want to pay for an influencer to post if they know that influencer is not going to move the needle. So I think I've just seen people wanting to be like, okay, can you guarantee, a 3 times ROAS? We can't, but we've got a match intelligence algorithm that will select the best influencers with the highest probability of driving sales for the brand based on kind of this brand sheet they fill out. So we put everything in place to ensure that the campaign is a success. But, luckily we've got over 70% of our campaigns that deliver a positive ROAS, which is amazing, especially in this competitive influencer marketing place. But yeah, we just try our best to, we pre-screen all of our influencers that are on platform to, make sure we alleviate any headaches. I know with influencers, it's, something comes up, my dog ate my homework or I can't post on this date. We've tried to, get past all that by, pre-screening, making sure they have the engagement, not just like, hey, I've got 1 million followers. Great. But like, we only see 3 comments on your posts. Like something doesn't add up here. So we've got a data team too that runs analytics as well. So we really put a lot of things in place to ensure that the people that we select for your campaign are going to move the needle, are going to drive sales.
Thank you for listening to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. Hopefully you are finding this episode as intriguing as we have. Now, one of the things we are talking about a lot at JEBCommerce is the merging of public relations and affiliate marketing. Maybe you've seen this happening. Maybe you're a PR agency trying to figure out just what all this is and how you can take advantage of it. Well, if you're a brand, you're an affiliate, or you're a PR agency trying to figure out what this new world looks like, we've got a ton of content for you. You can go to JEBCommerce.com/PR, and there you'll find podcast episodes that walk us through this new change, as well as a ton of content talking about the technology that's available, the similarities between pitching for PR and recruiting affiliates are, and really what you should be doing to take advantage of this exciting new change. So go to JEBCommerce.com/PR. And if you need any help deciphering and figuring out your next step in this exciting new development, then please contact us at gethelp@JEBCommerce.com, and we will jump on a call and walk you through the whole process. And then what we can do for PR agencies and brands to take advantage of this. We actually have a service level for each of you, and we can help definitely take advantage of that, help you track, acquire new customers, increase your reach, and adapt to things very, very quickly. So check that out at JEBCommerce.com/PR and email us at gethelp@JEBCommerce.com. Now back to our episode. What type of advertisers work best for you guys? Do you have a sweet spot?
Yeah, so fashion and beauty are traditionally our biggest movers as far as sales go. And that's just because, it's easy to like click, whether you're on your phone or computer, kind of impulse buys that we see are easy for people to do. And especially if the AOV is between like $100 and $200. Nowadays, people don't really bat their eyelashes about spending that. So people are quick to buy. Once they see like their influencer or somebody that they're following is posting this, they're like, okay. And if it's seasonal too, as far as clothing goes, they're going to be more quick to buy as well. So yeah, fashion and beauty are definitely our 2 top verticals.
Gotcha. And those lend itself really well to YouTube as well. Huge vertical. So if a brand wants to work with you, talk to me from that first touch point to the campaign being launched. How does that all look?
Yeah, so we first kind of have a call just seeing what they want to get out of the campaign, kind of what their budget is, because the budget will really dictate what we're able to do. With casted campaigns, influencers' fees have went up, so our prices have to go up to reflect that. So it just kind of comes down to, okay, what's your number one KPI? If people say it's sales. So we always want some type of YouTube component, we feel like, just because that statistically is the highest conversion rate for sales. And once we find out their budget, we would usually prepare a proposal with a couple different options. And before the call as well, I want to know what they've done in the past with influencers, just to see kind of what has worked and what hasn't. I know I'm doing a sunglasses campaign right now, and we're midway through, and they're like, it's just for gifting. And they're like, you know what? 80% of our clients are male. So let's kind of flip that where I have been like casting females. Let's move that more towards male. So we want to have them fill out all this information beforehand. So we've got a really good guise of, what we need to deliver so we can deliver, a success. And once, they choose which proposal they'd like, we would drop an IO. And then once they sign it, it's usually like a 4 to 5 week process from IO signature to the rollout of videos. And right after the IO signature, we have a kickoff call. Then we prepare, influencer selection for them. They get to choose which influencers they like. And then they come up with a creative guide that we would send to each influencer. And then they send out product as well. And then we're hoping to have first video cuts for their approval within 7 days of receiving product. And then usually right after they get approval, they'll go live within 7 to 10 days. Or if they're like, with holiday, they're very specific. We need to post on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, or on Black Friday. So,
yeah. And what KPIs do you monitor for the influencers in these campaigns?
So first off, it's sales. And then we also do last click, full funnel sales estimate, and we have an offline attribution model. A lot of people do buy offline, and we've been able to track this through bigger retailers that we work with. We provide those along with clicks, views, and then social engagement, which is like likes, comments, and all that. Likes and comments.
Yeah. And I would imagine, for a long time with affiliate marketing, we really didn't have a way to track outside of last click. Like that was as technically advanced as it was. But over the last 10 years, we've got a lot of technology from our platforms and networks that allows us to track everywhere, which is one of the reasons I think early on influencer marketing affiliate failed, because a lot of those transactions were happening outside of the click, and it was hard to get a clickable link in some of what these influencers are doing. So you guys, you can track, like 360, all of what's happening around this influencer.
Yeah, so it's an estimate because we do work with like a combustion junction, like they've got full funnel that they can track. Ours is very similar. It's a different attribution model though than theirs is. So it's not exactly what they're recording, but I feel like each, affiliate we work with has kind of a slightly different attribution model that I've seen in the past. And then our offline is using, I believe, a company called RevTrax that we've used in the past to track offline sales. So those, we've known that that's been down to like, a couple % of actually what it was. So we've been really good about, we have a really good data team. A lot of that's way above my pay grade, but they can definitely track all of that information, which is amazing and like something I'm learning every day. So.
And so just for clarity, if I'm an advertiser, a brand, I want to work with you, how is the fee structured? Are you able to work with influencers on a commission only? Are you also spending, do you need to be prepared to spend some ad fees as well?
So yeah, if the brand, we work with smaller brands too, and they just want to start with that, a $930 onboarding fee, then that's what we start with, and that's fine. And they would just pay out commission. Obviously, we do see a bigger return on investment when there is, an ad spend behind that, but we never want to like poo-poo a brand just because they don't have the budget. So you can definitely start at our lowest level. And then once you're seeing, hey, like I think there's influencers on our platform that's definitely moving the needle. Can we talk about gift or a casted campaign? We can talk about that then when they have the budget to spend. But yeah, they can start at the lowest level.
Great. And so other publishers like yourself that I've talked to, they've been very picky on who they work with, especially in this merging of PR and affiliate that's really taking hold now. Do you guys turn away advertisers? And what are the markers of those advertisers that you turn away if you do?
We are a B Corp, so we're all about being sustainable, but we do work with, fast fashion brands as well. So it would have to be something that really goes against our grain that's, like cannot be forgiven or something like that. I can't think of a brand like that offhand, just because we are a business at the end of the day and we do need to, make money. But at the same time, I think it would be, if there was a questionable brand, we would probably talk about it internally and decide as a collective, probably my boss and then our CEO, because I've got my sales boss, Ed, and then our CEO, Brian. So I think it would be a collective conversation. But so far, I don't know of any brands that we can't work with CBD right now or any marijuana companies. So that's a brand we like legit or legally, there's too many repercussions because it's a state by state issue.
And it's a federal, like it's all weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like sending out products and yeah. So that's for sure. We can't work with them, even though we were talking with our lawyer, trying to figure out, a workaround for CBD, but we couldn't find one. So we had to turn them away.
Yeah. So talk to me the other side, influencer side. How do you choose and select influencers, and what do you look for in those that you bring onto the platform?
So it's a minimum of 10,000 subscribers or followers on any network. We work with a lot of management companies too that, will suggest people. And then we review people that apply to our platform. We also have we have former people who used to work at ShopStyle who have good connections that they brought over, some of their influencers that they feel like would be a good fit. But, it's just somebody with an authentic following. And, we feel like either has proven themselves in the past to be able to drive sales or has high engagement rate and would likely drive sales for a brand. So it just kind of, our influencer team is pretty selective about who they select, but they do definitely have a couple of like check boxes that they review before letting somebody onto our platform that applies organically.
Gotcha. And what are some mistakes advertisers make when working with you? Like what should they avoid when they start a relationship with Magic Links?
I would say something I just saw recently is brands having too many do's or like checkpoints to hit for an influencer to say. Like the more organic an influencer can relate the product to their audience, the better it's going to do. I know on some things, especially like if it's anything medical or, with supplement brand, like there's things that need to be said. But I feel like for a beauty brand, like just say like how it authentically feels, or like for a clothing brand, be like, oh, it's 100% cotton. That's not really going to move the needle as much as like, hey, I like to pair this with this and that. Like, and just be authentic about it rather than like reading off a cue card is something I feel like how an advertiser can make a mistake of just trying to be like, okay, we need to hit all these things, but that's not going to move the needle, rather than them just speaking organically and authentically to the camera.
It seems like they would try to control the narrative instead of, there's a little bit of, you're going to engage with this person and you kind of got to be okay with what to create. We're not creating a commercial for you on your YouTube channel. This is for their audience. And so that's one of the big things that they do, is what you're saying. So brands need to be a little more okay with the influencer talking in their voice about the product.
Definitely. Like if they've already like approved this influencer to like be in their campaign, I feel like trust them. Like you've seen their content. And if you don't feel like they're a good fit, then based on that, then I wouldn't go with them in the first place. So it's definitely like trusting somebody to like deliver an authentic and organic message, but not, hitting every talking point you like suggested for them to say.
Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed in the past with platforms and aggregators is the need for the advertiser to have transparency. How do you guys handle that? So my question is, does the advertiser get to see, the brand get to see, these influencers are in your campaign, here's the content that they produced, and here's how each one performed? So they actually get to see.
We do all of that. I think it's an overall performance. We do say the top performers from each campaign. We don't break it down as far as, each person for sales. We usually just do the top performers because that's who they kind of care about, who moved the needle. Because, in some campaigns, everybody moves the needle. But in some campaigns, you've got only like 3 people that really made sales on it and made the majority of sales.
So you mentioned, they need to be able to allow them to talk in their voice. A campaign will be multiple influencers. And then you talked about providing product. Is that pretty standard? Like they need to be able to provide product, like they're going to review the product, right? So they have to have it.
Yes. We actually had an interesting case with like a higher fashion brand where they wanted the people to return the clothes after reviewing them. Because that's what they do with like magazine editors. So I was like, well, and their prices were maybe like a couple $100 per piece. So it's like, just do an outfit and maybe that's $600, but that's still going to be an investment that you're getting content out of. So we said no on that just because it just didn't make sense in the long run for our influencer to be doing it just for commission, because then they wouldn't even be getting the clothes and it was just going to be a gifted campaign. So it was a vital proportion of being gifted is getting to keep the clothes.
Getting to keep the clothes. Yeah. A good incentive to do the review. How about disclosures? So I assume the influencers all handle that?
Yes, we're very FTC compliant, and our influencer team has like the most up to date of like when you can just put like American Eagle partner, #American, instead of just like sponsored, we'll do the same thing. So they're very up to date on that. And I just take their cue when it comes to that, just because I feel like it kind of changes, but I feel like it's a little looser, but you still need to disclose that you're getting paid in some form or fashion.
Gotcha. And so does a campaign, like, is there a number of influencers that are typically involved in a campaign? Is it like 3? Is it 30?
I would say a normal campaign, somewhere between 5 and 10.
Okay. And how long does that run?
So that's usually running, I'd say over, 2 to 3 weeks will be the rollout, unless somebody is doing a sale where it's like, we need every piece of content live within these 2 days. Then we can do that. But I feel like it works better when it's kind of spread out over, a week or two.
Gotcha. Is there anything else that brands should know about working with Magic Links that we haven't talked about yet?
I would say, we're definitely easy to work with. And when it comes down to budget, I know some other companies have minimum budgets that you need to spend for casted campaigns or gifted campaigns. We can definitely work within whatever the brand's budget is, within reason. I'll say that. But yeah, we're more deal makers and deal breakers. So we definitely want to make a deal work based on whatever budget you have and creative. And we definitely have, the case studies to back up our successes. And, fashion and beauty are definitely two of our top verticals. So if you're in that space, I think a call would not hurt you with anyone on our brand team, including myself, to talk further and see if we might be a good fit for each other.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about that. How can they get a hold of you? How can they follow you or get in touch to chat about ways that they can take a next step forward in working with you guys?
Yeah, of course. So my email, andy@magiclinks.com, would definitely be the best way to contact me. I try and do 24 hours or less on every email. It isn't always the case, but, I definitely, for the majority of my emails, will hit that. So
awesome. Well, I will make sure to include that contact info in the show notes. And if it's okay with you, your LinkedIn as well, so they can get in touch with you there. Andy, this has been really great. I really enjoyed learning more about Magic Links and about you and spending this time together. Thank you for joining the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was a joy.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we will chat again soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, Andy, first off, thank you so much for joining me and spending time today talking about affiliate marketing and PR. Really appreciated your insights into the job search, what that looks like for a job searcher right now, especially as things are, uncertain going into Q4, lots of layoff announcements and things like that. Definitely, if you are a job searcher, we're hiring right now. We're looking for a senior affiliate manager, and our entry-level assistant affiliate manager roles. So we are looking for those. Please go to JEBCommerce.com, click on our careers tab. You'll see those ads, but listen to the advice that Andy gives. And we talk about that a bunch early on in the podcast. So Andy, thank you for that. Definitely some real good insights from that conversation. It is interesting to see that Andy saw this creep in of affiliate and PR kind of creeping into each other all the way back in 2012. So some things, Magic Links to think about: 25,000 influencers, 4,500 brands, mainly YouTube. They're doing a bunch of TikTok right now. It's really interesting to hear that YouTube is where they're finding the highest sales conversions. And also, their view of sales are the new view, the new comment, the new engagement. So that's a trend that we started seeing several years ago. And we see today of brands needing more than just the comment, the like, and any engagement. They want to track these campaigns based on sales. So 70% of their campaigns produce a productive ROAS. Let's see, what else do I got here? Oh, so some of the KPIs that they report on sales: full funnel estimates, offline and online, views, clicks, and definitely that revenue. Their minimum for influencers to get in is 10,000 subscribers on any platform. Advertisers, the lowest rate to engage with them includes a $930 setup fee and then commission. So lots of great stuff. If you are trying to figure out how PR and affiliates are working together and how to integrate influencers into your affiliate strategy, this has been, I think, hopefully a really good podcast for you. We also have created our own content around this particular topic. You can go to jebcommerce.com/PR to get that as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Andy, thank you again for joining us, and to the whole team at Magic Links. We really enjoy working with you guys. Looking forward to do more with our clients in the future. If you want to find out and work with Magic Links, see if you're a right fit and what kind of influencers they can get to work with, definitely email Andy at magiclinks.com. We'll include that in our show notes as well. And, if you found this episode useful and helpful, please share it. Go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and share this episode with your friends. If you know someone who's dealing with this particular topic right now, send this over to them straight away. And then we would really appreciate a 5-star review on the podcast player of your choice, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or any of those. That really helps us get the word out, and we'd appreciate your help in doing that. Now, we are getting ready for season 3 of the podcast, which starts in January, and we are looking for guests. So if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, or you know someone who should be a guest on the podcast, please let us know. And we continue to work on getting 50% of our guests represented from marginalized groups. So if you know anyone in that group that you think is amazing and needs to be on this podcast, please send them our way. Well, thank you very much for listening and getting through to this part of the podcast. If you need any help with your affiliate program, just email us at gethelp@JEBCommerce.com and we will get back to you right away. But anyway, thank you for listening and thank you for helping us get the word out on this podcast.